Hello and welcome to Grade Expectations. I'm your host Grade, and today I've got a CGC modern unboxing for you today. So today I have 17 books that have been pressed and cleaned by Gary Kendra and then sent off to Florida to be graded by CGC. And why 17, I guess is the first question. Normally I send books in groups of 25. 25 is the minimum for pre-screen. It's also the maximum per order. And living in Canada and with crazy shipping once we get like crossing the border, it's really only feasible for me to normally ship in packs of 25 just to save on the costs. But today I have 17. So what happened? So originally I sent 75 books to be pressed and cleaned. So I sent them to Gary. He pressed and cleaned all 75 and then sent the books off to CGC. And a couple weeks later, I got an email from Gary and from CGC. I got linked into the conversation, and my books had been damaged. And so at some point, either with FedEx or with CGC, the books were dropped, or at least the box was dropped. And I was told that some amount of the books were damaged. Originally, I thought it was all 75, and that would have been, like kind of a catastrophe. However, I was told that it was only 25 of the 75, and I've already had the other 50 books returned. So I had a 9.8 pre-screen where I did awesome, and a 9.6 pre-screen where I did awesome. I think I got say 45 out of 50 books back in the pre-screen. So no damage to those books. Super happy. But these other 25, they're like, we can grade them or we can send them back. And so Gary decided with me to have them returned to him so he could take a look. Like they were going to try and press them or something with CCS. I didn't even want to go there. Just long waits and all that stuff. Maybe they jump it to the front of the line. I don't know. I didn't even want to go there. So we get the books back to Gary. Gary has a look at them. And he immediately told me after press, like he repressed all of them, and all 25. And then he said, of the 25, 8 are not worth grading anymore. And I said, okay. So what happened was he sent back the 8 books, and I have 6 of them here right now. I've sold the other 2. So the 2 that I sold were All New Marvel Now .1. First full appearance of Kamala Khan. I had 2 copies, and the corner had like a noticeable color breaking bend. And so basically a lot of these books, there is a color breaking bend on one of the corners, depending on which way the book was. So that was 2 of them. The next 2 that unfortunately got damaged were Wolverine number 8, classic Mr. Fix-It, Mr. Fix-It and Wolverine cover. And you can barely see it. But if you look really closely on these books, there's just like the tiniest little, it's not even really color breaking, but if you're like obviously inspecting the books to be graded, they are a little messed up. And so these ones were sent back. I haven't done anything with them. Eventually I'll sell them. Like if I don't grade a book, then I don't generally want to keep it. And so I have the 2 Wolverine 8s, and then I have 4 copies of Wolverine 88. So this is the first battle between Wolverine and Deadpool. And one of them, this front one, is the regular, and then the other 3 are the deluxe. So you can tell it says deluxe up here. There's something going on with the barcodes. This one says direct. But all 4 of these as well. I can't even really show you, but basically, where are we here? Right at the corner, you can't even see it. There's the slightest discoloration of the color breaking crease. And I saw before pictures, and I believe me when I say Gary Kendra did an amazing job just repressing the books and trying to get the crease out. So anyway, 8 books were just damaged. And then the other 17, I would imagine some are damaged. And then I basically had to wait. And through this, impressive pressing was awesome. They held the books and waited to go through insurance, and then insurance paid out and actually paid me out through Gary. And then we were able to send in the remaining books. So basically Gary looked at the 17 and said, these are probably worth grading. So when you're making an order with CGC, you have to declare the value of each book. And this is the first time where it's come up. And, you know, people, I've seen on the internet, people are asking all the time, what do I do like with this declared value? Do I just declare the max? Like on Modern, 400 US per book is the max. And, you know, my opinion is you should declare the actual value, you know, within reason. And so a lot of the books that I send to CGC, you know, like they're $100 or $200 books. I'm not declaring 400 on each of them. And in this case, you know, like that does affect the insurance money. Like I'm not trying to rip off insurance. I'm trying to be accurate, and you know, I'm trying to be accurate. Like I have to deal with the Canadian-US border as well, crossing it. So everything should be on the level and accurate. And so anyway, I just wanted to caution everybody and make sure that you're valuing your books properly, because if something bad happens, like has happened to me, then obviously you want an accurate, like an insurance claim to be put through. Okay, so anyway, back in, say, January, the books were able to be sent to CGC. This was just Modern, slow tier, no pre-screen, and so the 17 books were just sent back to me at the beginning of June, I guess, say June 7th. So full turnaround, you know, just over 3 months, say about 100 days, which I'll take. Now, lately, I've been hearing, you know, that graders have gotten tough at CGC. And that, you know, like the grading is just, you know, like they have rookies grading and everything is just, you know, falling, the wheels are falling apart. And that has not been my experience. I would say I've had at least, I don't know, 100 books or more graded in the last year. Obviously, they've had new people come on, and I think that they have all been accurately graded. Now, that being said, there are different graders, so it's possible to get a harder grader for sure, and so that's kind of like the chance you take. And a lot of the people that the complaints I've heard when they talk about books that they're grading, they are grading 90s books or even 80s books and expecting a 9.8 on everything. And I would suggest that, you know, when I started grading books, I thought, you know, a lot of my 80s and 90s books that I was buying were like, oh, you know, this could be a 9.6 or a 9.8, and then it would come back an 8.5, or it would come back a 7.5. And I would just say you're not looking for everything when you're checking out these books if you're not a professional, and I would suggest the grade is probably the grade. So I have seen the grades for these 17 books. We're going to go through them. I might go a little slower on a couple of them because I want to look for corner damage, because they're not all 9.8s. And a lot of these are, you know, 80s or 90s books that I kind of bought up in the summer with the intention of sending in. And unfortunately, this group of 25 is the better of the 3 groups, you know, that I sent in. So of the 75, this is the best 17 that I sent in. So without further ado, let's open her up and see what we got. All right. So I always like to see how they're shipping. They have the cardboard on top again. They weren't always doing this, like the corrugated cardboard. Corrugated cardboard on all four sides. And then because there aren't 25 books in here, they have bubble wrap kind of in between on both ends. So as far as like packing, it's great. So which side do we want to start? Let's just start with the first one. All right. So the first book I have here is Wolverine number 10. So this is just a classic like Wolverine cover. It's like a saber-tooth Wolverine battle. And I actually bought, I think on eBay, I bought a lot of, say, Wolverine 4 to 12 with like with the intention of buying Wolverine number 8. And then when I looked through them, this number 10 I thought had a very good chance at hitting 9.8. So when I look on the bottom, like it's great because it's a like white cover on the bottom, so as far as color breaking, it's certainly a lot harder. I don't see any damage, and I am very happy to get this back in a 9.6. If you know, like we're going lower than a 9.6 on a book like this that's kind of borderline, you're kind of you know, losing money. If it's a 9.4, 9.2, then you're just grading it for the sake of like slabbing it. So 9.6, if I keep the book, then you know, it's a good grade, and if I end up selling it, I think I would sell it at a profit. And certainly this is kind of like a gravy book just because I actually bought for Wolverine 8, and you know, it just happened to look pretty good. Next book. Personal favorite. So I bought a bunch of these. I would say I bought 6 or 7 poly bags back in 2020, and they were going for like, you know, 60 to 80 bucks at the time, and there's certainly a lot more now. The books are or like the bags are, say, $250, which I think is a lot of money. Now certainly this book has gone up a lot. Like originally at the time I was buying them in the poly bag, I was paying, say, 80 bucks with the expectation that maybe 1 out of 4 would be a 9.8, and at the time I think a 9.8 was like 600 bucks, maybe 700 bucks, and I thought that was crazy. Now when I opened all the poly bags, now that I've had them all graded, only 2 were 9.8s, 1 was a 9.6, and then the other ones were not. So this one has kind of like, there's a production error on the bottom staple on a lot of these Ultimate Spider-Man ones, where there's definitely like a mechanical rub right where the staple is. And I actually had a major rub, and it came back in 9.8, and I was dumbfounded. I sold that book pretty much immediately because that's a pretty major manufacturer error. And with this book, it has kind of like a line here, like an ink line, and I think that's why they bumped it down to a 9.2. You know, like it's not color rub because it's not rubbing on another book. This came right from the poly bag, right into a bag and board, and then shipped off to CGC pretty quickly. So I think that's all it took to ding it. Like it does have a color breaking crease as well. So 9.2. I would hope for better. I will, you know, sell that one off, but it's an important book. And I do like the book. Okay, next is like a bigger one. And there are quite a few, or there's a few X-Men books that I thought were big books. So this is X-Men 129, first appearance of Kitty Pryde and Sebastian Shaw and Emma Frost. Big book in 9.8. I knew this was not a 9.8. I'm actually super happy with a 9.2. With white pages. So I, you know, like with this book, there were definitely a bunch of spine ticks. And, you know, I thought it would come back like an 8, maybe an 8. And Gary worked his magic on it. I bought this in a lot as well. I think I bought 4 X-Men books together on eBay, and I think I paid like, you know, $200 at most, and this was one of them. So I just, you don't see this book pop up very often on eBay, and when you do, it is very expensive, like overpriced. So this one came back a 9.2. I had a 9.4 copy, and I sold it before this book popped off. So back in 2020, right around December, I sold my 9.4, I think for like $400. So I got a 9.2 back, and I'm going to be holding on to this copy. Till I get a 9.8. Alright, next. Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 16. This is the first appearance of Monica Rambeau. And this is a book where you see a lot of them. Not a lot of 9.8s. I wouldn't say this book is very expensive right now. And I do actually think Monica Rambeau is like part of the future of the MCU. And I think that they just cast the right actress. And she was awesome in WandaVision. And then, you know, people have forgotten about that, and she's going to be in, you know, like Captain Marvel 2, and then who knows, maybe they'll make an Ultimates someday. But certainly they have their Monica Rambeau. So I wanted, you know, like a nice copy. I think I got this one on eBay in an auction, and I didn't pay a lot, maybe like $100. Now that was when it was going for more. So as far as the corners, this corner does have like some wear, or like you know, like a color breaking crease, and that's because of the damage in shipping. So that's disappointing. It's a thicker book as well, so it is what it is. I'm still happy to have a 9.4, and I don't know, I'll probably keep that one. There's not a lot of hype right now, right? So why would I sell it? And that's a big thing in comics, now that I've been doing it for a couple years. You don't sell when there's no hype. First of all, it's very hard to sell, and if you are going to sell, you're just getting pennies on the dollar, so why would you do it? So you shouldn't grade a book unless you're willing to hold on to it for a while. Alright, next one. We have Amazing Spider-Man 293. So this is part of Craven's Last Hunt, part number 2. Okay cover, but so basically I bought the first 50 issues of Web of Spider-Man, and it also included a couple Amazing Spider-Man books, including this one and Amazing Spider-Man 300. And when I was going through to sell it as a lot, I looked at this one. I'm like, that book is just really nice. And so I thought I'd have it graded. So let's take a quick look. Like, there's no spine ticks on it. I would say the corners are good. Oh, maybe not. It's so tough. Like, this book looks like a 9.8 to me still. Again, I do trust the CGC grade, and I do trust the grader. So it is a 9.6, and there's probably something very small. And again, like, that's the thing. Like, there could be a tiny little thing that they catch with their ultraviolet light that I can't see, and that's all it took to bump it from a 9.8 to a 9.6. So, you know, like, I just got this graded because I thought it was close enough. And I guess in retrospect, pre-screen it, but I probably would have put it in a 9.6 pre-screen anyway. So, you know, like, it's just one of 50 books where I already made my money on Amazing Spider-Man 300 because I got that one graded and it came back a 9.4. And I think I paid, like, say $400 for the whole lot. So this is just another one where, you know, it's kind of the gravy. Okay, next book. All right. Next we have Geiger number 1. So this is the UK 1 per store raw edition. And I bought up a couple of these because of Spec Collector. So he basically said this is going to be the Chase one. It's the only like virgin sketch cover. It's a one per store. There are not that many stores in the UK. So after Spec said that, I kind of tried to do a quick internet search of comic book shops in the UK. And it's not just UK actually, it's like Spain as well and whatever. And there were only like 500 shops. So I think that this print run is only about 500 max. And that could be totally wrong. And, you know, a lot of them could be damaged, that kind of thing. I bought one where it was damaged. And this is like a thick board, so it seems hard to damage it. On the CGC census, there are 19 of these in 9.8. And I know there's no hype for Geiger right now, but glad to have one. Actually, I know Spec he probably has at least 3 or 4 of the raw. So if he has 3 or 4, there's only 19, yeah. And I've got 2 of them. So these are the only 2 copies that I have. Again, I bought a third one and then returned it because it was not as pictured. And they both came back 9.8. And this is cool. Like I think this is kind of like the cardboard where you would kind of hope for a 9.9 if it's perfect. And these were not both perfect. So yeah, like even this one, the corner has the tiniest little imperfection, and I would suggest that's from the box dropping. But Geiger #1, it's a good read, and I don't know what's going on with that, but I'll hold on to those books for a while and just see. All right, next we have the Infinity Gauntlet #1. This is a cover buy. This is for my PC. I bought a couple copies of this book, just trying to find a clean copy to send in to be graded. Came back 9.6 with white pages. This one as well, you can see on the corner just the tiniest little, you know, like I had high hopes for this submission. And I can tell now that I'm actually seeing these books back, a lot of them do have corner damage still. And so, you know, like I'm sure it was pressed out as much as possible, but you know, you can't fix something that's broken when it's color breaking. But it's a cover buy, it's a cool book, and it will go on the wall. And you know, like I didn't think I would make money on a book like this. This was just for me to look at. It's a cool cover, and it's got the Infinity Gauntlet and Thanos and Mephisto, so the real villain of the MCU. All right, next book. This one came back a 9.6. So this is NYX #3. I showed this in a video maybe a year ago. I bought it in the group like NYX 1 to 7. I found it on Facebook Marketplace, and I paid $250 for all 7. And so the NYX, it was actually kind of like dirty here, and I was hopeful it would be like a 9.4 or 9.6. Damn it. This one does have corner damage as well. So it's got the tiniest little color breaking corner damage, and probably would have been a 9.8 if the box wasn't dropped, because like that one's obvious, and they still gave it a 9.6. So the rest of the book looks flawless. Actually, I think they were generous giving it a 9.6. So super happy to have it. I had a conversation in the video that I showed this book where I'm like, I don't really like the cover. And, you know, some of the people that watch the video are like, it's a cool cover. I still don't like the cover, and I'm still going to sell it. So take that, Ross. It's my book. I'm selling it. All right, next. These X-Men Days of Future Past ones are going to break my heart. So I submitted 2 copies of this book. This is X-Men 141. This is part 1 of the Days of Future Past. Classic cover. There are first appearances in this. So Avalanche, Pyro, Destiny, and Rachel, who is Phoenix too. So, but basically Pyro and Avalanche, they to me are very 90s X-Men cartoon characters. Where I actually looked up, I'm like, what's their first appearance? And it was this book, and I'm like, oh, that sucks. It's like a key already because the cover's so awesome, and it's, they made a movie out of the story because it was so good. So it came back a 9 with white pages. And I would suggest there is pretty significant like color breaking damage here. More so than the other books. And even on the back you can see that even though it's a white, you can see that there is damage. So that's brutal. I actually thought that I would get a 9/8 on at least one of the two of these. Pre-drop. Pre-drop. And next, my other copy. Again, this one is a 9/2. Barely any damage, but there is damage on the corner. It just looks so clean otherwise. So, it's really unfortunate. 9/2 white pages. I am going to keep this copy, and like the X-Men 129 that I already showed off is a 9/2. This one's a 9/2. We'll just say I was always aiming for 9/2s. 9/2 is the new 9/8, so 9/2s are the new miles. Write that down. Now this one is brutal. So I bought this off eBay. I would suggest I paid like full price, so I paid over $100 for this, expecting better, and it came back a 9/6. This one did have notes. I couldn't see the notes because like it's on Mr. Kendra's account, and so I'm going to look the book up afterwards just to see why it got a 6. I did not expect a 6. I think that's a big part of getting comics back graded when there's no pre-screen and they're like 80s or not, like these are 80s books. This one's 79. First full appearance of Alpha Flight. I am Canadian. I wanted a nice copy of the first appearance of the Canadian superheroes. I'm gonna continue to look for one. Like when I look at this book, that looks great. Like, I can't see anything wrong with this book, and that means there must be something major. Like maybe there's like something in the middle, like maybe I'm missing like an insert or something like that. So I'll have to check. And if I am missing an insert, well, that's my fault. I'm still learning, right? Like I wasn't around collecting these X-Men books back in the 70s. That was before I was born. So like sometimes there are like centerfolds or inserts. There's no place that I know of that it's easy to like look for. So alright, so that last one was a loss. This is probably a loss as well. So this is X-Men 244 in a 9.2 white pages. This is the first appearance of Jubilee, obviously one of the weakest X-Men. Apparently she's got like Moira McTaggart, like 9 lives or 10 lives powers now. And jeez. This book looks clean to me too. I see like the tiniest little like corner rub on the bottom. I don't see any other damage. So, it is what it is. You got a book from 1989. You're expecting it to be like when you're hoping for a 9/8 on a brand new modern, and a lot of the time they're not coming back 9/8. It's really hard to expect, just like a random book. You don't know what's been done to it over the last, 30 years. So, I'm learning my lessons. I bought it on eBay, probably pretty cheap. It just looked clean, so send it in, hope for the best. Next, weird one. So this is Marvel Superheroes Volume 2, number 8. When I look for this on eBay, I always forget how to search it, and even trying to search it on the CGC census, it's just hard. You got to go look it up. This is the first appearance of Squirrel Girl, and I bought this book for $20 on Facebook Marketplace, and so I am happy with the 9.2. I thought it looked very clean. It's a square bound book, so obviously very hard to it definitely has a spine tick. Like 9.2's harsh though. I didn't see any corner damage on this one. Squirrel Girl. Nobody knows about Squirrel Girl. If she ever, like made it into a movie, or, like who knows with Squirrel Girl. I would just say this is a very hard book to find, and it's hard to find in high grade. And it was this is 1992, but you don't see them around, so it is not a huge print run or anything. It's just, like, I can't believe I own the first appearance of Squirrel Girl. What am I going to do with that? It's a cool cover, though. It's got Wolverine on the cover, so how bad can it be? Next. Oh. Another good, important book. I don't know where I got this one from. This is not the facsimile. This is the first print, Edge of Spiderverse number 2. Came back in 9 4-white pages, which is good. This one also was like dirty here. It had like color rub from another comic being on top of it, where on this white it was rubbed, and I can still see it, so there's definitely like a strip, but I think Mr. Kendra cleaned it very well. And then the corner definitely got dinged up. So on my, like on CGC, you list all 25 books. This book was the first one next to, like the 8 books that were unforgivable. And this one definitely I can see on the corner. Now, it's a white corner. Actually, the back has a black mark as well, like not a black, a white color breaking mark as well. So I think it's got color rub on the back too. I think I got lucky with the 9.4 on this book. This is my only copy of Edge of Spiderverse 2. I had a 9.6, sold it. Had a 9.8, sold it. And it has certainly gone up a lot in the last 6 months. A lot of hype with, like Miles and Into the Spiderverse 2. Even though it got delayed a year. So I don't know what's going on with this. It's nice to have this book. 9.4 isn't keepable for me. So it's still profitable despite being damaged. It helps that there's just a lot of hype with that book right now. So this is the companion piece to XMen 141. This is XMen 142, the second part of Days of Future Past. I had 2 copies of this book, and there's a lot of color variance. So this one had really nice popping greens, and it looked like it was in really good condition. The other one I had was very faded, and I thought it was sun damage, but after looking at it really close, I think it's just, like they're printing these books back in the day, and it just has, like a different coloring. So, like the first books they print off have really nice coloring, and then by the end of the print run, they're running out of ink, and it's just, there's a lot of variance on it. So originally I thought this had a shot at 9.8. It does have a little color rub, and the corner definitely has a mark. Yeah, well, it looks like a 9.2 to me. So still happy to have it, and I do think it's a cool cover along with 141. So that's going to be my 9.2 X-Men collection, unfortunately. Last book, and this is probably a loss as well. Maybe not. So this is X-Men 184. This is the first appearance of Forge. So he's the X-Men that can like use technology and build anything, that kind of thing. And people just don't talk about this book. I don't love the cover, but I thought it was an important X-Men first appearance. So I picked it up. Like, it looks pretty clean. I would say this book also has a tiny bit of corner damage. So, I was hopeful that just, like the box kind of landed where only a couple of the books got crunched. I think that most, if not all of these books got crunched. So getting a 9.4 when it gets crunched in transit just is still pretty good. So that was 17. The biggest books in here, NYX 3 and Edge of Spiderverse 2, I got a 9.6 and a 9.4. That's still very good, and I would be happy with those grades. Like even if there was no damage. So overall, I'm pretty happy. And you keep in mind like these books are already kind of paid for because of insurance, because they were damaged. So like I do lose significant money because they were damaged, but I'm when I'm buying raw, and I'm trying to get good value. So I don't think it's gonna break the bank. Other thing I wanted to say is I bought my first ever CBCS slab, and this is X-Men 101, and it's in a 4.5. And you say, well, why would you buy that? Like, I really wanted to have a high grade copy of this book. First appearance of the Phoenix, and just a classic X-Men cover. And the reason I bought it, let's see if I can do this right. I'm still learning how to use the camera. I'm not even on the right side. In the pictures, you can see that the book is not pressed at all. So, where are we here? Right there, you can see spine ticks and kind of like a wave. And then when you look on the back, when you're looking, where are we here? Over here, you can see there's a huge spine roll on this book, and it is very dirty. So I'm actually going to, on my next submission, I'm going to send this in to Mr. Kendra to crack, and do the dry clean, do the press, and fix the spine roll. And to be honest, I expect it will come back 5.5 or 6. And I don't want it in a CBCS case anyway, so I'm happy with the purchase. So it'll come back hopefully a little better than mid-grade, and it's just a good flip for me, and I bought it cheap. So what do we do right now? Right now, there's a lot of uncertainty in the economy. People are obviously surprised with inflation. Inflation, I think, was like 8.6% last month, which is insane. I haven't lived through something like this, and it does make me think that this could be like the 70s or the 80s, like early 70s, early 80s, where inflation was just out of control. And I remember asking my parents, like, what did you do during this time? Like, what's up with that? And they just say they kind of lived through it. Like, they didn't really think anything of it. And that's how I kind of feel. Like, I feel like we've already had crazy inflation, maybe for 6, 8, 9, maybe even 2 years since the pandemic. And people have just kind of gotten used to it. And not everything has gone up. Not like food hasn't always gone up, or gas, or anything else. And now some things are going crazy. But things have been going crazy since the pandemic hit. But what do we do? Buy and sell. I think this is a bad time to sell. I think that a lot of people that are beginning to panic are trying to list their books at market value. And, I have some of my books like on eBay or on Facebook Marketplace for market value. If somebody wants to buy it at full price, I'll certainly sell. But this is a good time to buy. People are, getting antsy. And I would just caution people that think it's just going to get worse forever. And, like, why would I buy today when I can buy, like in September or in December when the recession hits? And we just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And I would say that, you're going to be able to find deals right now. So I feel like I'm buying books again because, between January and say April, I bought almost nothing. And I was looking, but now I'm seeing some of those books that you just haven't seen in 2 years coming up. Like the X-Men keys and like the 80s books and 70s, like the Bronze Age books are coming up. And so people are deciding whether or not they want to be invested in comic books, and they're deciding if, I use the term investment. I don't see comic books as an investment. You can certainly make money buying and selling, and I am here ultimately to collect. Like, just because I like the art and I like the look, and obviously I have a wall and everything, and then the goal is to kind of flip my way to an X-Men one, and like pay for some of it, but like to get an X-Men one in decent shape. So it's a good time to buy if you've got money, and that's the thing. Like, everyone, when the economy's tightening up for other people, that's when you really need to be spending if you can. I'm not saying, buy all comic books. I'm actually not at all saying that. But, if you're buying, you should continue to try and buy if you can afford to. Just because I think that the prices are kind of not as crazy as they've been the last 2 years. That's about it. I think I'll have like a buy video maybe next week where I'll actually talk about some of the books I'm buying. I do feel like I bought some interesting books in the last few weeks. And I have bought a slab, or I bought the CBCS one as well, but I don't consider that slab because I'm cracking it. But I am buying books and looking for opportunities, and looking for books that other people are not overvaluing yet. And so we'll see what I've come up with in the next video. So this has been Grade with Great Expectations. Thanks for watching the unboxing, and have a great evening. Good night.